Hello there, fellow NPCs. I am Scythe, and today we're getting back into Seeds of Chaos. We are trying to go through all the different events that exist here in the Castle Bloodmean before we continue week 7 or 8 or whatever it's gonna be. In the last episode we also had quite a few, no, actually only 2 sexy events. So I don't want to use them all up and just leave a bunch of episodes without anything fun, but we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, let's continue to destroy the 6 realms, shall we? Let's go. So these 2 guys don't have anything interesting to say, but there was something here. We can... Oh, okay, what is Forge mode then? Military mode and Forge mode. I need to know what that is. Ah, here we go. The Forge, focused iron conversion. The cogs turn, the hammer strikes, and the fires of the Forge illuminate the castle every night. Bloodmean goes to war. Okay. 1 unit of iron to 1 equipment. The cogs turn, the hammer strikes. Oh, okay. That was just a repeat of what's said down in the corner. 1 unit of iron to 1 equipment. Relieve orcs from day-to-day maintenance. 1 unit of iron is converted to 0.25 morale. Ooh. Orcs despise work, having grey hide look after their equipment is a great way to improve morale. Produce trade goals. 1 unit of iron converts into 4 gold. Too bad we have a absolute trash amount of iron though. In that case, I think we maybe should try to increase morale. Is it on sale? No. Ow! Oh, I see. Now it's chosen, I think. Is it chosen? It is chosen. Oh, right. Now I see. No, that's the wrong one. Here. Army report. And we need to expand. Equipped soldiers. 8 out of 29. Orcs recruitment rate 2 per week. Base military strength. Or equipped orc. Soldiers currently have 0% modified to strength. Total military strength of orc soldiers 111. Current treasury and morale cost for each soldier 0.5 out of treasury and morale 0.5 and 0.1. Okay. Total treasury and morale cost for oak soldier. That's a lot of zeros. Treasury. That's a lot of treasury cost. And orc soldiers, which is mostly going to bring down the morale. So yeah, it was a good thing to bring up the morale. We don't have any succubi, we don't have any driders. But how... Ooh, other bonuses. We don't have any other bonuses. How do I expand then? That would be through this guy. Okay, I see. In which case we've done everything except for talking to Ysera. We still have so much to do. We don't have favors, while Reeve still stands. Don't be ridiculous, Rowan. Show event Ysera is stressed. Okay, so last time Andras was stressed, now Ysera is stressed. Hey, brothers and sisters, don't you know it? Rowan, be a darling and come to my room. I need some help unwinding. What exactly do you have in mind? Oh, just a massage from a handsome company. And, well, maybe I'll tease you a bit too. You'd rather have a playful mistress than a grumpy one, wouldn't you? Tell her you're too busy. Go up to Ysera's room. Alexia did say do what they ask of you, more or less. Alright, on my way. Excellent. Enter. Rowan stopped, his hand raised, about to knock on the door. Of course, since Ysera was expecting him, she'd been watching his position. It made sense that she knew he was there. Oh! All naked already. Entering into the finely decorated room, he found Ysera was lying down on her bed, propped up on one arm and running the other up and down her body enticingly. I'm so glad you weren't too busy to come by and help me out. She let out a long groan, then exaggeratedly stretched out. I see, like, sort of thing. Today was a damn frustrating one, so I just need a chance to unwind. Come over here and give me a well-deserved massage. Oh! I will see you guys real soon. Well, let's just say we did everything she wanted us to do. And it did not really... Well, she was using her feet. That's plural. Her feet. Either way, if you want to see that stuff, you have to go over at SpicyGaming.net and see the uncensored video there. And now, let's continue. The tendrils of power retreated, releasing Rowan and allowing him to gather up his clothes. Well, I am thoroughly relaxed and satisfied now. Thank you, my hero. You are dismissed. And that was that. But it's still not done, per se. There's nothing more for me to do, right? Did I miss something? Am I an idiot somehow? Well, I kind of am, but we don't have any prisoners. Dungeon week 7, I assume. Looking for your old neighbor? Don't worry, he's in a special place now. Okay, so I guess we just have to get going with it. Trip to the library. Ah, Alexia, haven't seen you in here for a while. Despite the arrival of the other woman, the sorceress did not look up from the tome on the desk before her, continuing to study intently whatever was contained between its covers. Yes, I meant to visit sooner, but things have been a bit hectic since Rowan appeared and I haven't had as much as a free time as I did before. I was beginning to think that you had lost interest in our little collection. Oh no, I love reading. Glad to hear it. It's nice to know there's at least one person in this castle who isn't an ignorant savage. There's hundreds of years of knowledge in this library, some of it are lost to the rest of the world, and most of these books look like they have never been touched. The librarian let out a loud sigh and closed the book in front of her. Anyway, how can I help you today? The directness of her question seemed to set Alexia back a little, who looked down at the floor as she replied. Well, I've been in this castle for months now, and to be honest, I don't know anything about it. Or the people who inhabit it, and I was just wondering if maybe it's somewhere. Yes, there might be some books in the library about that sort of thing. If it is information about the castle itself that you're interested in, you'd do better talking to Skordred instead, as he was originally involved with its construction. He'll probably know more about it than any book that I have here. As for its inhabitants, there are no books on the twins themselves, but if it is knowledge of their line you're after, you might try Demonology, aisle 67 on the left. Oh, thank you. I'll take you myself, but I have a lot of work that needs to be done. No, I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time. It is quite alright, if you will excuse me. The blonde reopened a book on her desk and returned to whatever it was that she had been studying before the other woman had arrived. Armed with knowledge of where she might find the book that she sought, Alexia headed off deeper into the library. While she had spent quite a bit of time exploring the place when she had been a prisoner of the twins before being reunited with her husband, Alexia had never been this far into the library before. It took her longer than she thought it would to reach the destination, as well as the aisles began to look similar, and some of them seemed to be endless. Eventually, almost an hour after she had left the librarian at the desk, She stood before the demonology section. Cleone had elected not to mention how large it was, nor that, as far as Alexia could see, any of the books had been written in any sort of language that she was able to recognize. One book stuck out from the others. It was large and bound in some sort of thick brown material that had begun to crack with age. She ran her fingers over the strange gold symbols that adorned its spine, and it was thick with dust, as the librarian had earlier lamented. I wouldn't touch that one if I were you. Oh, Andras, you scared me. Azar Theologica Demonica, written after the mage was driven mad by his attempts to see beyond the veil into the outer dark, and bound into the flesh of his disciples. Ooh! That kind of sounds like Al-Hasr the Mad Arab from Lovecraft. The woman withdrew her hand in disgust. That's... How vile! True, all humans who foolishly think that they can harness the power of chaos end up changed by the experience. More often than not in a horrifying ways. That is, if they even survive. It is seductive nonetheless though, as you can attest to. Terrifying as it was, the demon was right. There was no denying that she had felt drawn to the one book alone among all the others, and even now, having learned what she had, she still seemed unable to take her eyes off it. Yes, that is very Lovecraftian, but so essentially very eldritch. Chthonian. Don't worry, that book isn't for you. I think you'll find this one a lot more helpful. The demon came and stood behind her in front of a stack she was currently perusing. He leaned forward to try and take something from the very top shelf, but Alexia was too smart to allow him to trap her this way. Leaning flat against the shelves in front of her, she was able to avoid his obvious attempt at forcing contact. More amused than angry at the human's evasive tactic, he brought down what he had been reaching for, another dusty old tome from the shelf. While this one was different, bound in red leather and gilded with gold, the runes on the cover were just as indecipherable as all the rest. I think you will find that this is more along the lines of what you were looking for. He took the step back and handed the book to her. It was surprisingly heavy for its size, and she almost dropped it when she took it from him. She cracked open to discover the book was filled with more of the strange language that she had seen on the cover. As she flipped through the pages, she discovered it also contained illustrations. Andras, these images... The book was filled with depictions of violence and lewd acts that shocked the human woman to her very core. She slammed it closed and held it out to return it to the demon who had given it to her. This is not something suitable to give to a woman. He wanted to learn about demons, and those are the things that demons do. Even so, I can't understand a single word in it. Take it to my sister. She'll be more than happy to help with reading it. Alexia was torn as she looked at the book in her hands. What lay between its covers disturbed her, but there was a chance it could contain information that would be useful, that would be worth a potential risk, surely. Oh, I'll think on it. Thank you, Andras. Think nothing of it, and if you need any more suggestions about books, you only have to ask. End of week 7. Tavern purchased! Oh! There are so many characters in this, and I love it! She looks gorgeous! Typical gypsy woman, or what is it, wanderer? Something like that, I don't know. As Aron was leaving his quarters and heading down towards the castle kitchen, he ran into a dark-skinned woman dressed in bright silks. She had a cheerful bounce to her movements, but also had a hard edge to her features. She gave a one-handed courtesy to the hero before addressing him. A fine morning to you, Hero Rowan. I am Indara. The one called Ysera instructed me to seek you out and introduce myself. A fine morning to you as well, woman of the dragon's tail. Oh, you know who they are. As he spoke, he returned her greeting with a customary sweeping bow. As he did so, he noticed that there were some fighting scars on the woman's hands. When he returned his gaze to her face, he spotted the barest hint of another scar that she hadn't quite managed to cover up. This girl was a fighter. So what brings you to Castle Bloodsmean? An opportunity I would never get back home. A chance to own a tavern of my own. Oh, I see. Your mistress has offered me a property that was recently restored in the wastes. My experience dealing with pirates, often violently, seemed to have impressed her. Yeah, I was going to say pirate as well. Yeah. Well, I hope that your service does not prove to be a greater burden than you thought it would be when you agreed to serve Gisera. She measured Rowan's words for a moment before responding. I'm well aware that she is a demoness, as well as what she and her brother seek to do. I don't care what they are if they give me a chance to break free of the chains of my birth. Very well, Indara. It was good meeting you. I'll see you around the tavern. Greyhide's table manners. Okay. Ysera had a look on her face that could only mean trouble. It was the kind of sinister smirk she wore when she was thinking of something devious. Ysera, are you even paying attention? Of course I am. You just seem distracted. My apologies if the mundane matters my Castellan brings before me causes the mind to wander. We don't have to deal with this right now if you're not in the mood. Come now, hero. No need to sport such a sour frown. Have you anything interesting to report? Nothing else really springs to mind. What of our new forge master? Greyhide? Oh, is that his name? How quaint. Rumor has it you two were seen getting drunk together on the castle walls. I assure you, my lady, it was only for an evening. I had already finished the task for the day and... Now, Rowan, I don't begrudge you your fun. By all means, indulge yourself. As a matter of fact, I'm delighted you've taken an interest in making new friends in the castle. It means you're finally putting down roots. If you say so. He's a big fellow, isn't it? Most minotaurs are. There you go again with the sour frown of yours. Tell you what, to prove my magnanimity... What? I grant you the evening to yourself. Spend it as you will. Thank you, my lady. There's just one condition. You and your lovely wife should spend it with your new friend. Rowan's hackles rose. Her rapid-fire shifts in topic were giving him mental whiplash. Why? Why else? Because it amuses me. Of all the people who could have struck up a friendship with, you chose a bull man who forges weapons of war. The very idea of it is humorous to me. I'm interested in seeing where it all leads. Ysera leaned back in the throne, waving Rowan off in curt dismissal. If I have any further need of you, I will call. That will be all for today, Rowan. Well then. An evening with Greyhide. That's what Ysera said. Well, that doesn't sound so bad. He's a pleasant enough person. I wouldn't mind getting to know him a bit better. Oh, Rowan, what if we all had dinner tonight? Yes, the three of us. We could ask the cooks to prepare a vegetarian meal for him. Make an evening of it. Are you sure about this? It's been too long since we had a real night together, Rowan. From what little he's told me, it sounds like Greyhide has led a difficult life. Yeah, that he has. Then maybe he's due for a fun evening as well. Does he even have any other friends at the castle? None that I'm aware of. Then we can be his first. You know what? Sure, let's do it. I'll make the arrangements. It should be a fun night. She is not very happy with his table manners. Huh? Things weren't going quite as Alexei expected. It had begun amicably enough, Happy introductions and pleasant greetings were exchanged, as the bull, fresh from the forge, wiped the soot from his apron and took her hand in his massive mitting greeting. But no sooner had Greyhide taken his seat at the table than things took a turn. He began to eat. Though eating was a kind way of putting it. He gorged himself, grabbing large chunks directly out of the salad bowls around him and stuffing them into his mouth. He didn't even bother with a plate or utensils, shoveling handfuls of lettuce and carrots and other vegetables wholesale into his yawning gullet. He didn't eat fast, but he was efficient. Alexia was appalled. She never thought of herself as a stickler when it came to food etiquette. Okay, that's something at least. It's just, she seems to be somewhat normal, but when she saw that, she kind of freaked out. Goodness knows Rowan himself could be a handful at times, but this was another thing entirely. So caught up was Alexia in the disgusting display that she didn't even notice Rowan politely ask her to pass him the water until he was all but yelling in her ear. Alexia? Ah, what? At this point, Greyhide also noticed that the red-haired woman was staring at him. He swallowed the latest mouthful, then spoke. Is there something troubling you? No, of course not. I just... Across the table, on the other side of Greyhide's bulky form, Rowan was smirking. He knew exactly what was bothering her. Desperate to avoid the awkward topic, Alexia changed the subject. How is the meal? Quite good. A very hearty feast. I am touched that you remember my diet. Well, that wouldn't look good on us as hosts to serve a raw steak, now would it? Alexia shot a subtle death glare in the direction of her husband. Rowan simply laughed. Far from being insulted by the jab, Greyhide chuckled. Please do not do that. Whelp would never let me hear the end of it. The whelp? Yeah, exactly, the whelp? I apologize. Sometimes I forget whose castle this is. You know him as Andras. Alexia shared a look with her husband. Greyhide had just called their demon master a whelp. The bull's deadpan delivery elicited shocked laughter from the both of them. Why do you call him that? It was the only name I could think of at the time. And your first instinct was a whelp? It was. We met years ago after he showed up one day at my old forge. He wanted to know how I made my weapons. He was as brash then as he is now, only smaller, like a little dog. Rowan grinned from ear to ear. Alexia had to cover her mouth with a napkin to hide her uncontrollable giggles. Why do you still call him that? Why not? Well, for one thing, you work for him. I've known him for too long to think of him as anything else. He is still a whelp. Is everyone at the castle little to you? For the most part. Just don't start calling me a whelp and we'll be fine. You're smaller than most, little one. I think we found a new nickname. Hey! Laughter circled the table like a welcome guest. Greyhound returned to loudly munching on his meal. A broad smile on his lips. The tension in the room had been utterly broken. The jovial atmosphere was ended soon after. However. Rowan's features sharpened. His hand went instinctively to the amulet around his neck. His brow furrowed. Really? Now? But you said... Rowan trailed off into silence as Alexia and Greyhide shared a look. You were the one who gave me the night off. Are you certain this can't wait until tomorrow? A longer silence. Alexia's mood fell as she looked upon Rowan's deepening frown. They'd all been having such fun together. Very well. I'll be there immediately. As Rowan rose from his seat, his two companions made to rise as well. Rowan waved them back into their chairs. Is something wrong? A minor matter, but it cannot wait. Is it the whelp? No, Ysera. Will it take long? Hopefully not, but it's hard to say. I might need a few hours. Oh. Hey, don't end the evening on my account. If all goes well, I'll be back before the meal is finished. Okay, hurry back. Be well, Rowan. Take care of my wife while I'm gone, will you? Of course. You have my word. How are they going to spend the evening? We will see. An awkward silence filled the room. Despite the earlier jovial atmosphere, Alexia found herself uncertain of what to say. It was only after a long moment of staring at her food that she noticed Greyhide had stopped eating and was looking at her. You are quiet. Have I said something wrong? No, Greyhide, sorry. I'm being rude. Silence is not rudeness. It is just silence. Do I frighten you? Ooh! Ooh. I really want to know what this leads to. Alexia bit her lip and nodded. Well, a little. I'm sorry, I know it's silly, but... The bull raised a hand to stop her. I know what I am. You don't need to excuse yourself. In normal circumstances, you would have a good reason to be afraid. This castle is about as far from normal as you can get. I know. It's also not fair to you, Greyhide. You are a kind man. The Minotaur stood up, circling the long table. He took 2 flasks of something from his belt and held one out to Alexia. Here, for your nerves. What is this? Firegrout draft, one of the few things I enjoy from my old home. It is potent, so take only a few sips. Oh, okay. Thank you. Alexia accepted the drink after only a moment's hesitation. They clinked their flasks together and drank as one. Greyhide downed it in one gulp, while Alexia took a paltry sip. Wow, that's not bad. Smooth, is it not? It's so spicy, it almost tastes like cinnamon. It comes from a rare herb native to my homeland. It is hard to get the ingredients from so far away. This batch seems a bit stronger than usual. Alexia felt a pleasing warmth spread through her tummy as her cheeks flushed. It really was strong. She took another measured sip. Thank you for sharing it with me. I'm glad you enjoy it. Would you like to hear about the Dragon's Tail? Ooh, those are the pirates we met earlier, or the Idahara, or something like that. Your homeland? Oh, yes. Okay, so the pirates came from the Dragon's Tail as well, I guess. Or I'm misremembering things. I'd love to. Alexia giggled perhaps a little too eagerly, as she took another dainty sip. The fire grout settled in her stomach with a welcoming heat. Nah, she's kinda drunk, is it? Is she? What time was it? Alexia didn't know. She was having trouble concentrating. The conversation had been so enthralling that she hadn't even noticed the minutes ticking by. She couldn't remember when she had gotten so close to the hulking Minotaur, who sat with a kind of lazy indolence next to her. Greyhide tipped another flask back and downed its contents. It was his third one of the night. They were both struggling to hold a coherent conversation. Oh, now he's drunk! Your husband gave me a Rosarian wine. When we last spoke. The Minotaur's cheeks were flushed, his mouth open and closed in a slow, deliberate fashion. He talked in a plodding tone, even more so than usual. Alexia found it funny. I wish to find and share the drink my people make with him. Alexia giggled with a girlish intonation, clutching the half-empty flask to her chest like a treasured heirloom. No, don't do that. It's mine. Too late now. That's right. It's our alcohol. Alexia was blushing. Gosh, she was burning up. Frilly pink clouds had drifted over to the higher functions of her mind. Everything about this evening was perfect. As far as she was concerned, Greyhide evidently felt the same way, judging from his blissful smile and slumped demeanor. I'm glad we met you. Glad I met you too. She looked at him for a long moment, impressed at his outsized physique. How could a being as big as him live only on vegetables? She poked his massive knee, and she lifted his head to look at her. How do you stay as big as you are eating only vegetables, Greyhide? You know what I like most about you, Greyhide? Oh. Interesting. But this is what she was asking for? Greyhide put a finger to his snout, tapping it gently against his nostril as he contemplated. To Alexia, it looked like a cow trying to be philosophical. What is so funny? Your face. What is wrong with my face? Nothing. You just make funny faces. My face is my face. Well, obviously. A long silence passed between them. Then the dam broke, and they erupted into gales of drunken laughter. The Minotaur quieted down, his lips curling into a gentle smile. You are nice to be around, Alexia. You're nice to be around too, Greyhide. I never thought I'd say that about a Minotaur. Nor I, human. A strange simmering warmth was working its way through her body, settling snugly in her groin. She took another idle sip from the flask to settle the butterflies in her stomach. Something was off. She didn't normally feel this way. Was it the alcohol? Her thoughts began to wander, things she'd never considered before dancing dangerously in her head. She couldn't quite think straight. There was an aphrodisiac in that with the wine. This is, I can't really reason it. We are not the good guys any longer. What are you looking at? You. What are you looking at? Nothing. Despite his best efforts to hide it, Greyhide was spotting something beneath his paltry loincloth. An obscene question popped into Alexia's head. How big was it down there? No matter how much she tried to beat down the thought, there it was. For whatever strange reason, the pink clouds in her head wouldn't let her look away. She couldn't help herself. Her inhibitions had been cast to the wind. There was a fire in her belly and a burning question in her mind. Greyhide? Yes. Can I see it? See what? I think you know. Greyhide's eyes widened. He tried to sit up straighter in his seat, but his movement was sluggish, impeded. What? Alexia giggled, her hand reaching over and patting his leg, just on the inside of the thigh. I want to see your... The bull jerked back, his legs closing as he let out a loud masculine snort. Aye. Come on, I've been wondering about this for a while. Does it look like a human's? Is it bigger? I wouldn't know. Greyhide swallowed heavily. He was panting, his eyes lidded as he spread his legs again. Despite his feeble protest, he was just as turned on as Alexia. The world moved in slow motion. His large hand reached down and adjusted his loincloth, revealing the turgid member hiding beneath. And I think I'm gonna have to cut out here. I will be right back if there is nothing, but I'll see you guys real soon. And we're back, and well, they couldn't really do anything, so they were just yeah. But if you want to see that entire thing play out, you have to go over to SpicyGaming.net and see my uncensored gameplay over there. Yeah. And at the very end of it, once the Minotaur was finished, they realized that they were not thinking straight. So now they are like panicking, getting dressed, and trying to figure out what the hell they were doing. So let's get back to it. The two recent lovers both rushed to clean themselves up and redress. Neither seemed ready to look the other in the eyes. Greyhide's breathing was ragged, his movements sloppy and uncoordinated. Alexia was a little better, half stumbling as she struggled to pull up her knickers. I have to go. Meet too. After a perfunctory goodbye, the two drunken friends all but fled from the scene of their recent debauchery. Alexia would lie awake that night, restless and drunk, wondering to herself what had just happened. The worst part of it was, for all her worries, it had been a really lovely experience. 15 weeks remaining to complete the current main story mission. And yeah, morale was a bit boosted there. I see. For each iron we get 25. I thought it was 1 iron per week or something like that. Man. Oh yeah, she just finished it. Personal goal 214. And treasury. Ooh, that's good. Good. And 200 experience. Week 8. Well, that is where we cut off for today's episode. It was all a lot of good fun, I will say that. He. We finally got to see some Minotaur dick. But yeah. That is where we cut off for today. And we will see how Rowan and Alexia and Greyhide is going to recover from all of this. If Rowan ever finds out, that is. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching. And thank you, Joseph, for donating directly to my Ko-fi page. If you guys want to help me out, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description. I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember, just because you're not the main character, it does not mean you're not important. Goodbye, everyone.